US President Donald Trump has arranged a meeting between Russia's President Vladimir Putin and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky that is set to take place within 2 weeks. What a major development and step forward in bringing this horrific war to an end. Now, President Trump hosted Zelensky and European leaders at the White House today, and the president is optimistic that peace is within reach. And it's not just Donald Trump touting the progress that's being made. This is Finland's President Alexander Stubb acknowledging just how significant the events of the past couple of weeks have been.
I think in the past 2 weeks, we've probably had more progress in ending this war than we have in the past 3.5 years.
That is the president of Finland saying in the past 2 weeks, we've probably had more progress in ending this war than we've had in the past 3.5 years. That is just incredible. The president posted that his meeting at the White House today with President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine, President Emmanuel Macron of France, President Alexander Stubb of Finland, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni of Italy, Prime Minister Keir Starmer of the United Kingdom, and Chancellor of Germany, Friedrich Merz, President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, was a very good one. He posted that during the meeting, we discussed security guarantees for Ukraine, which guarantees would be provided by various European countries with coordination with the United States of America. Everyone is happy about the possibility of peace for Russia-Ukraine. At the conclusion of the meetings, I called President Putin and began the arrangements for a meeting at a location to be determined between Putin and Zelensky. Now, after that meeting takes place, we will have a trilat, which would be the two presidents plus myself. This comes just 2 days after Donald Trump met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. And when Putin arrived at the military base, a B-2 stealth bomber flew over the two leaders in a clear display of US strength and power. Although Donald Trump went into the meeting insisting that he would be demanding a ceasefire, he wasn't able to achieve that. And Trump has since shifted his position and argues that negotiations over a ceasefire could potentially get in the way of a larger peace deal. And peace deal, well, that is, of course, ultimately what we all want. But US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff confirmed that Russia offered encouraging signs, including that Putin agreed to allow the US and European nations to give Ukraine security guarantees. And President Trump is confident that real progress is being made to bring this war to an end. Here he was on Sean Hannity after the meeting with Putin.
Why? Is it to save lives? Do you want a safer world?
Yeah, number one, to save lives in all cases, because wars are wars. When you see what would have happened with Cambodia as an example. Now, I'm not involved, but I was involved in negotiating a trade deal, and I said, you guys are going to be fighting Thailand, Cambodia, so many different. Look at India. Take a look at India and Pakistan. They were shooting down airplanes already, and that would have been maybe nuclear. I would have said it was going to go nuclear, and I was able to get it done. Number one is lives, and number two is everything else. Wars are very bad. And if you can avoid them, and I seem to have an ability to end them, to get people together.
It may take several more meetings and more time to get there, but we're right now at a point where Putin is agreeing to security guarantees for Ukraine, yet still pushing for territorial demands. But because of Donald Trump, Putin and Zelensky will be meeting in less than 2 weeks. But what I find wild is just how many Democrats and so many people in the mainstream media have been mocking the president and were rushing to declare that the meeting with Putin was a failure. Many of them have just become experts overnight on how to end a war and deal with Vladimir Putin. Here's Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy on NBC.
The problem is, in the Senate, the Republican leader won't even bring up a vote, a debate on this bill, because Donald Trump doesn't even want a discussion about these sanctions because he's so worried that it might upset his great friend Vladimir Putin. What is most impactful and what will be most impactful on this war are more weapons for Ukraine. And here's where Putin has the upper hand.
And just like the Democrats, the mainstream media just couldn't wait to get on TV and say that Donald Trump failed. Take MSNBC, for example. While covering the meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, MSNBC host Nicole Wallace had a meltdown while she was live on air. She couldn't actually stop herself from swearing. Take a look.
Russia could bomb anywhere in Ukraine. I mean, it's It's watching them scrape and struggle to get an American president who supported them to give them all the weapons they needed to go toe-to-toe with Russia. And to see all that potentially erased by an American president who just doesn't give a shit about democracy. He doesn't care about our allies. He doesn't care about a democratic ally's sovereignty.
And just how much progress was made under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? Well, absolutely none. This war started while they were in power. The media is upset that the red carpet was rolled out for Putin. Yet, whether we like it or not, Putin is a world leader. He is, of course, the bad guy in this, but the criticism is ridiculous. It gets even crazier. Here is Margaret Brennan interviewing Marco Rubio, saying that European leaders were making their way to the White House today to protect Zelensky from being bullied.
You know, there is concern from the Europeans that President Zelensky is going to be bullied into signing something away. That's why you have these European leaders coming as backup tomorrow. Can you
No, it isn't. That's not why they're
them?
coming as back. That's not true. No, but that's not why that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're
well,
not
that
coming.
February
in fact,
Oval Office
they're coming
meeting
here tomorrow
in front of television cameras where President Zelensky.
Do you know how many meetings we've had since then?
Oh no, I know, and I was just up in Alaska watching the one with Vladimir Putin where a red carpet rolled out.
No, but it was Zelensky. We've had more meetings. We've had one meeting with Putin and like a dozen meetings with Zelensky. So, but that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're coming here tomorrow because we've been working with the Europeans. We talked to them last week. There were meetings in the UK over the previous weekend.
And they said President Trump was going to demand a ceasefire
as early as Thursday. No. But you said that they're coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming here tomorrow. Oh, this is such a stupid media narrative that they're coming here tomorrow because Trump is going to bully Zelensky into a bad deal. We've been working with these people for weeks on this stuff. They're coming here tomorrow because they chose to come here tomorrow. We invited them to come. We invited them to come. The president invited them to come.
Yeah, well said, Marco Rubio, and for calling out that stupid media narrative. Margaret Brennan was proved entirely wrong today. While that February meeting was like nothing we'd ever seen before, there was an entirely different energy today at the White House. When Zelensky arrived, he suited up.
President Zelensky, you look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, looks good.
I said the one that attacked you last time. See, that was I remember that.
Yeah, I apologize to you. You look wonderful. No, my first question for you, President Zelensky.
In the same suit. You see, I changed. You are not.
Maybe yours is much better.
And this was Donald Trump's message to Zelensky.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much,
for hosting us.
Mr. President. I think you'll see that President Putin really would like to do something else. I think when we set that up, when we do, I think it's going to be when, not if. I think you're going to see some really positive moves. I know there's over 1,000 prisoners, and I know they're going to release them. Maybe they're going to release them very soon, like immediately, which I think is great. But we're going to set that up today after this meeting. So very good and great remarks. I appreciate it.